Are they doing it because they genuinely care about you, or are they doing it to pick a fight with you? Or are they doing it because they're trying to kind of convince you to change your mind? If they genuinely care for you and they care about your opinion, like they look like they want to listen, that's a great opportunity for you to share some of these facts that you've been researching and looking up. Give them the history of the public school education. Talk to them about why you're choosing to homeschool and how important it is to you. It's that time of year again where you're getting together with your relatives and they've got all sorts of reason to let you know how they feel about you choosing to homeschool. I get it. Plus you got all those other people around you talking about all the success and wins and semester exams and all those things that are happening with their kids in the schools, and you just listen to it all and nod your head. But we're going to talk about all of these things and how you can specifically deal with those difficult people that like to tell you how to do things and why you're doing it wrong, as well as probably the most difficult person of all in this situation, yourself. My name is Leilani. I'm a former public and private school teacher, and I currently do homeschool evaluations for the state of Florida, which is it's a legal thing, and I currently homeschool all 4 of my children. The youngest is 6, she has Down syndrome, and the oldest is 7th grade. And on my channel, we like to give you encouragement, support, tips, all those things to help you along this journey as we are going through this journey as well. But let's get back to the point of this video, which is to help you with dealing with those difficult parents. So the first thing that you probably really want to work on is your confidence. And I mean, all of us are going like, duh, yes, my confidence level. You need to first look at yourself individually, talk to your spouse about it, but start to understand, why are you feeling doubts about your ability to homeschool? Also understanding why you are homeschooling. Really get down, why are you homeschooling? You also want to get the facts. Get all the facts, get all the information, read all the homeschool books in your spare time, you know, because we have a lot of it. But read all the homeschool books, get all the facts, get all the information, so that when you run into those problems where you run into people that are doubting why you're doing what you're doing, you have something to back it up. You have the ammo, so to speak. And even in those moments where you don't really want to speak because maybe it's not appropriate, it's in your mind, right? You have justified to yourself why you homeschool, so nobody is going to pull you off of that. When you know stuff, you can defend your position better. Community. I don't even know how to express to you how important it is to have a community around you. Whether it is physically, because that's always the best, to be involved with a co-op or have a neighbor or friend or somebody that homeschools as well, knows what you're going through. Social media is great for this. There's lots of little homeschool communities that you can connect with on Facebook, YouTube, even Clubhouse, and you can actually get to know these people on a deeper level and get to be friends with them, support each other, pray for each other, that kind of stuff, because you need a lot of prayer when you homeschool. Like a lot of prayer, and it's good to know that you have somebody that you can contact that can bear the burden with you, so to speak. And you can relate to things like, hey, this happened to me today. Has that ever happened to you? And they can go, yeah, totally happened to me. There's this connection that you guys have that any other type of relationship doesn't necessarily have. You can't have the same kind of relationship with someone whose kids are in public school as you can with another mom whose kids are like pretty much right there listening to the conversation with them, because, you know, they're usually around us all the time. That happens quite frequently. I catch myself saying, make sure you listen to this with your kids not around. Another really nice thing about having a good community is that you can hold each other accountable. You know, you can say, listen, I'm really trying to work through this. I'm really trying to find a way to reach my child in this area or spend more time with this child. And the other person can be like, hey, I'll keep you accountable. Call you the next day and be like, hey, how was your time with your kid yesterday? Holding each other accountable is so necessary, especially when you're homeschooling. Now, I know I didn't go into too many facts in this video. There's a lot of them, especially when you want to delve into the history of public school education and the purpose behind all of that. But I did write a book about it. And so I'm going to leave a link in the description box below, but it's called Freedom to Learn. And like I said, I mentioned a lot about the history of the public education system. I go into some of the figures that you may be familiar, the Prussian school model. But anyway, this one is out, available if you want to pick it up and look at some of those really cool historical facts that make you just go, okay. Now, let's just say that you're in the moment, right? You're in the room when your relative or friend walks up to you. You've been working on building your confidence. You've worked on those long list of reasons why you homeschool. It might be really short too. And you've talked and prayed with your spouse about it, okay? And they still walk up to you and they say, I don't really understand why you're homeschooling. Haven't you ever questioned that? Or do you really think you're capable of homeschooling your kids? I mean, you yourself never finished high school, and totally okay to homeschool if you don't have a high school diploma. I'm not judging you. No one really is, especially within the homeschool movement. I know lots of successful parents that have successfully homeschooled their kids that have never gotten a high school diploma. So just kind of throwing that out there. But those conversations come up. They come up. And how are you going to handle them? Of course, there's always the first thing, just ignore them and just go. Or you could even walk away too, right? Go walk in the other room, play with your kids. Let's say you feel like you need to say something, right? You can say, thank you so much for sharing with me your opinion. And your opinion is important to you. You can say that too. Anyway, just acknowledge that you hear their voice and their opinion, and just kind of move on to the next conversation. Not to say that those little moments can kind of get at you. So that's why it's always really good to go back and get that information, work on your confidence, talk to your spouse, write your list, read your books, get on YouTube and watch, us homeschool moms tell you, you're doing fine. Okay? Because we've all been there, done that. Like even me, guys, I was a teacher for 10 years, and I still have people question why I'm choosing to homeschool my kids, because they're used to the way that the public school has trained, and they've seen success in that way. So they don't understand why I'm going that way. So they question me, and they accuse me of not doing the right thing. Yes, that has happened to me. Another thing that's really important to do when you're in that situation is to feel out the conversation with the person who's asking you that question. Are they doing it because they genuinely care about you, or are they doing it to pick a fight with you? Or are they doing it because they're trying to kind of convince you to change your mind? You want to feel them out. And of course, according to whichever one or whichever the place that they're coming from, you want to respond to that. Of course, if they're trying to pick a fight, just ignore them or acknowledge their opinion. If they genuinely care for you and they care about your opinion, like they look like they want to listen, that's a great opportunity for you to share some of these facts that you've been researching and looking up. Give them the history of the public school education. Talk to them about why you're choosing to homeschool and how important it is to you and how you value those things that made you make the decision. So for example, with me, we chose to homeschool because of biblical reasons. We feel like in our home, us parents have a way of giving them a strong foundation in Scripture, surrounding them by people who are godly, that are great role models. Yes, they're going to run into bumps. Yes, they are going to make mistakes, but they're going to have supervision from us and from other people that love them, that have the same foundation, same belief structure, the same faith. They put their trust in God, as opposed to a secular institution that just kind of, their values are all over the place. I want people feeding into my children that come from that sound biblical worldview, perspective, all those things. So that's why we choose to homeschool. Academics, to me, they're important. Education is important. As I quote one of my viewers, she made a very good response and say, we do, as believers, need to hold ourselves to higher standards. Totally agree, those things are important. But what is more important is the Lord and His word, His truth. And understanding that we can only do in our home. That's the side note why I homeschool. Remember, and I'll say it again, usually these people that genuinely care about you, they come from a place where public school was successful. They saw it firsthand, they went through it, and what they saw was success. Now, obviously, it depends where they put their success. Is their success in, what they're capable of doing or what people are capable of doing job-wise? If that is their success, you want to look at that and think about that. We can go into some really interesting topics from here, but I'm gonna stop right here. I'm gonna let you think about that, and we're gonna get back to what other things you can say when you're in the moment. So sometimes it's really good to say, nope, this is not how we're doing it, especially with those type of friends or relatives that are really just trying to manipulate you and push you into a direction that they think is best for your family. You can always certainly say, no, this is not how we as a family have decided to do this. Always remember that homeschool is unfamiliar territory for a lot of these people. They've never seen it done. They've never seen it done successfully because they've never seen it done, or they just hear about things, or they hear about rumors. They don't know the facts usually, and that's why they're asking you. You have to be a spokesperson for the homeschool movement a lot of the times. Homeschooling for them is uncomfortable. Have you ever thought about that? They're used to, they're comfortable with the public school system. So why would you do something that's uncomfortable? Like, think about these things. That is what a lot of these people are thinking. And yeah, sometimes it makes us feel a little bit uncomfortable too, because it is, for a lot of us, out of our norm. And if you have not been subscribed to my channel and you haven't noticed, we've been doing a lot of live talks with guests that I bring on, and we are exploring all of this very deeply, so to speak. And I'm going to go ahead and put a link to my lives down in the description box below. We've been doing it twice a month, and it has gone fabulous and amazingly, and you should check them out because they're going to get you thinking. All right, let's give you a little bit of analogy because analogies are fun. So let's just say you have a diet and you just eat the standard food, nothing too junky or whatever, and you're still not feeling well. But you know that when you grab that cup of coffee, it perks you up a little bit and you feel good. Well, somebody says to you, why don't you stop drinking the coffee? Well, at first, it's really difficult, but it's hard to believe them because you've never done it before. But you find that when you step out and you stop drinking coffee over a period of time and maybe changing your diet up, you find that it actually makes you feel better. You move from like the comfortable to the uncomfortable, but then you find your happy place in the uncomfortable, and then it becomes comfortable. Yet it is sometimes really easy to slide back into some of those old habits. I tried. It's an okay analogy, but hopefully you get my point. So we're gonna move on. But do remember this, that the parents are always the ones that are in control of a child's education. It's biblical. Other faiths also believe that as well. It's written in government statutes, state statutes. The parent is in charge of a child's education, their child's education. I think, of course, most importantly, biblically, there's scripture verses. I mean, it could be for any reason, not just faith-based reasons. It could be for disabilities. It could be for safety, bullying, mental state. Maybe your child is behind in an area and need more work. I mean, government, social, whatever the reason it is. Your reasons for homeschooling your child is your reasons. And you need to stand firm in that. So you need to know backwards and forwards to be able to defend your position. Backwards and forwards, guys. I cannot stress that enough. And after practice, it's going to build your confidence. Now, I am planning on making a video eventually talking more about why I believe that Christians should homeschool, believers should homeschool, and why I, as a believer, homeschool. So I'm going to make a video about that later on, but I'm going to go ahead and stick some other videos in the description box below that kind of explore this idea to help you build your confidence. Like, I have one that recently came out that talks about, am I smart enough to homeschool? Now, before that, I do want to give you a little bit of a heads up. I'm announcing it now. Kind of excited about it. I'm going to be doing a challenge, an open collaboration for other YouTube mamas that want to jump on board, and an open collaboration for you to share in the comment section. It is going to be a giveaway. It's going to be a $25 gift certificate. And if I get like 100 comments, I'll add another $25 gift certificate to it. But the reality is I want you to dig deep and understand why you are homeschooling. Why are you homeschooling? What are your reasons? They may have changed, or maybe they haven't. But really dig into why you're homeschooling. Either make a video about it and attach it to the playlist. I'll actually go ahead, contact me through Instagram, and I'll send you that link if you want to add your video to the playlist. Or just comment. Just comment below. So stick around, sign up for the newsletter, and wait for the contest because it's coming up. It's in January. I'm going to keep announcing it and making little things, you know, all the things. So thank you guys so much for watching. All the videos that I talked about in this video are in the description box below, as well as the cards and the screen, ending screen. So hope this was helpful, and I will see you guys in our next video. Bye.